Hello, trading has closed on the 9th of January 2023. Let's start with our disclaimer. This is my trading plan for Tuesday, the 10th of January 2023. Please remember I can be wrong. Any trades you make should be at your own risk. Well, yes, there's a reason I have this rule. Gapping sharply in the undesired direction kills the call before the open, because I had a lower MEJT target. I had a 5-wave pattern. I had all kinds of negative stuff. In fact, we did close in the red, but that doesn't count because we gapped up smartly and that kills the call before the open. Here's what we said. And we said if we don't gap up smartly, the odds favor a retrace. So there wasn't really a call today. We did say it was the pattern with the early high, and tomorrow should have the early low. That doesn't change. MEJT gave an ultimate buy signal here. Targets 39, 36, 65. No time limit. Normally you don't have to wait long. That's an outstanding target. And we have a new target from today's pattern. 39, 29, 37. If we don't gap down smartly, the rules say it prints. There is one other rule that at major changes in trend, MEJT almost always leaves unfilled targets. In fact, if there isn't an unfilled target, I question whether the move's over, even though it isn't officially part of my rules. So these might not work, and I would keep that in mind. Let's look at resistance at this high. Well, I said when we broke through this green line that the odds are could be returned to the line. On very, very, very infrequent occasions, instead of returning to the line, you just return to the price at which the line was broken, which was today's high, 39.50, which is the price we mentioned when this broke. It still almost always returns to the line, but sometimes, very infrequently, that's all you get. Gann likes to divide things into thirds. You take this range, take 2/3 of it, or you can take this range, 1/3 of it. You're not exactly on today's high, but in the scheme of things, you're awfully close. So that's additional resistance. Doesn't mean resistance has to hold, but at least it's there. We're trying to pick the end of this wave. So far, it just kept going up. Let's look at the count now. Well, you don't really have to change too much. I mean, we had an A, B, C. You can make this A, this B, and C is 1.618 times A. Doesn't mean it's the only count, doesn't mean it's the right count, but at least if this holds, you can explain it. We still are closing under the prior consolidation's lows. Well, we gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all the highs, even under all the lows. That's a pretty negative pattern. If we don't follow through, it doesn't mean a thing. I mean, if we gap up tomorrow, that doesn't count. You have to follow through by 1 cent. But for right now, it's a negative pattern. The MEJT targets are positive stuff, so we have to use our mixed signals rules, which are right here. Commonest thing is a gap and prompt move outside the day's range. Sometimes you don't do that much and make the move the day afterwards. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Well, tomorrow's pattern has a early low. We could still gap up. Typically, it's a rally day with a high in the final hour. If it's weak, the days afterwards also tend to be weak. There are higher targets. If we don't gap down smartly, the rules say that they'll print, and that's positive. Again, the major changes in trend, it might not work. But it's quite negative. We gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all those highs, even under the early low, and there's also strong resistance at today's high. So we'll use the mixed signals rules. I'm still convinced that at some point this rally is going to end. That's not the one I want. At some point this is going to stop. We've had this A down, we'll have a B, we'll have a C, which should resemble this A. And I think if and when that happens, that's the end, that's the final low, because I think this low we hit in October is going to hold. But there could be some discomfort first if people go long too soon, because we have to complete this ABC down, and I don't think that's enough, because this move up isn't an impulse. So the signals are mixed. We have the pattern with the early low, higher targets. We still have this lower target, which we'll have to add to the list. And I'm still looking for one big drop followed by a rally probably the rest of the year. Pattern has early low, and that's today's call.